Fall Off by J. Cole will officially be released in 4 days from now. We've been anticipating this album for a very long time. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, like we said, he's been teasing this for years now and been working on it for approximately a decade, estimated at this point. So
Yes.
it's cool that we finally getting the album after so long. It's like I want to compare like GTA 6, but it's something along those kind of lines where like he talked about it and everybody's like, oh man, it's gonna be his last album. Everybody like, man, he ain't dropping anytime soon. And then he announces out of the blue and everybody's like, oh, this is happening. So, last album of his career that he plans on doing. So, it's been a journey. So, I'm going from there.
I think we can expect greatness. I mean, when you work on an album for 10 years straight, you tell us that you're working on an album for 10 years straight or that you have been working on an album for 10 years straight, I think we can't expect nothing but greatness. And J. Cole has clearly showed throughout time that he is one of the most elite lyricists on planet Earth today. And I say that with zero hesitation.
So I think we both mentioned this in the videos that we've done by now, but, it's estimated that this is supposed to be his best album. You know what I'm saying? Take that with a grain of salt, because how many people have said that this is going to be their best, and then it's not really their best? Better than some things, but again, it's higher expectations, because you got J. Cole fans from different eras, and you got different kinds of fans of music, so everyone's taste palette's going to be different. You got people like the mixtapes, people like Sideline Story, Born Sinner, Forest Hills Drive, KOD, For Your Eyes, Off Season, Might Delete Later even. So you got to top all of those albums and even singles from those albums. You know what I'm saying?
I think at this point, everybody is expecting him to top those albums. Even Forest Hills Drive, which I'm not sure if you think that's his best album, but a lot of people would say, especially the diehard J. Cole fans, they would say that Forest Hills Drive is his best album to date. But again, 10 years in the making, this album, originally it was going to be released in 2020. Then people thought it was going to be released in 2024. And then now, here we are, 2026.
Yeah.
All of that just adds, I think, to the pressure on J. Cole to deliver. But also considering the fact that this is believed to be his last and final album. And another thing I wanted to point out, Life After Death by Biggie. All Eyes on Me by Tupac. Wu-Tang Forever, of course, from the Wu-Tang Clan. There's a few other double albums that I'm missing. But I'm bringing those albums up because those are amongst the elite of the elite double albums. All Eyes on Me is heavily regarded by a lot of people as Tupac's greatest album. Life After Death is not regarded by a lot of people as Biggie's best album, but is still arguably the greatest double album that we've ever seen, especially for hip hop. So for him to be in that conversation now in terms of he has a double album and it's his last, and given the caliber of rapper that he is, it kind of makes sense that people are going to try and compare it to All Eyes on Me or Life After Death. What do you think?
Yeah, because, well, I think regardless of anything you drop, they'll always compare it to the greatest albums, because that's essentially like the standard for anything. You rank anything, like, does it really always get in your top 10? Is it a recency bias thing, or was it just that good that you put it in that position, or is it that good that you throw it in there?
Everybody cannot make a good double album. Let's be very clear about that, right? This is something that, okay, if you're making a double album, we can assume that each disc would include at least 10 to 12 tracks, maybe even up to 14.
Yeah.
So let's just say 12 tracks per disc. That's 24 songs. The last time I checked, we've never gotten a J. Cole album with 24 songs. I think the closest we came to that was Born Sinner, and it had 20 maybe.
Yeah.
But that wasn't considered a double album. This is. So I think that just adds on to the pressure.
And you also like deluxe albums and things like that.
Yeah, but when you release something,
well, obviously release
intentionally as a double album, again, just the circumstances, comparing it to the other albums of the past. But moving on from that, let's talk about features, because I think that obviously, right, we know that J. Cole has went triple platinum 3 times with no features, right? But now, given the circumstances of this being his last and final studio album, doesn't mean he's completely retiring from music. But if we can assume that we're not going to get that many appearances from him from here on out, well, it would be nice to see features on this album. Do you think we need to see the features, or do you think that he needs to go solo dolo again? Because I can see Jid on the album. I can see Nas on the album, his biggest inspiration, arguably. I can see Jay-Z on the album. I'm going to get the another guy, maybe 2 other guys after this. It's a stretch. It's a stretch, but those are some of the guys right off of the top of my head that I can think about being on this album. Do you think it's necessary or what?
It was talked about that maybe Drake and Kendrick had features on it. It was talked about, and this was before the beef, and the beef happens, and people are like, is he still going to keep them on or not? No one really knows, so we'll see it when it releases.
There's conversations, of course, Rory and Mal on their podcast, they claimed that Kendrick was on there twice. They also claimed that Drake was on there. Now, I'm not going to question Rory and Mal. You know, respect to those guys. We don't know how true that is. Given the circumstances before the events of 2024, y'all know what we're talking about. The beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Prior to that, it does seem like Cole was gearing up to have both of them on the album. As a matter of fact, let's not forget when him and Drake were on tour. When Cole and Drake were on tour for the It's a Blur tour.
I mean, just a clip.
They were on stage and Drake asked Cole, can I be on a Fall Off? And Cole was like, yeah. Now we fast forwarded, that was about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So here we are now, 2026. Given the circumstances, it's definitely not a huge chance that we will see Drake or Kendrick on the album. However, I've said this on this channel before, and I'm going to say it again. If there is any artist on planet Earth that can get Kendrick Lamar and Drake on the same exact album, it is J. Cole.
Yeah, especially
it will be J. Cole. Yeah. He will be the only one that some people are going to look at me crazy for that. Hey, it is what it is. I just don't see nobody else doing it.
It's a possibility. I mean, nothing's impossible considering how the beef went.
It would give it to that Big 3 moniker.
I wouldn't expect them to be on the same song. There was talks about that because for First Person Shooter, there was talks that he was going to be on it, but
things didn't fall through.
Yeah, but seeing them on the same album, that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the kind of the contradictory part of it. Actually, 2 years ago on Crocodile Tears, he was like, I thought I was finished, but I want another 2 summers. So, funny enough, he got his 2 summers out, or almost 2 summers out. Actually, no, technically, because that was before that summer.
This summer would be 2 summers.
Yeah. But when he's on that, you eventually get tours for the albums. It's going to be super awkward having a Kendrick and a Drake song on the same album and you're doing the tour.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do a surprise appearance. Can't really get both.
I didn't even think about that. If you do a song, and now we got to remember, Kendrick Lamar and Drake not Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are arguably the 2 greatest lyricists in the mainstream. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're arguably the 2 greatest lyricists in the game right now. If you put them on a track together and it's fire, a lot of people are going to be disappointed if you go on tour and there is no Kendrick.
See what I mean?
And you can apply the same thing to Drake. If you do a song with Drake on the Fall Off and it's a hit, or a lot of people enjoy it, and if there's no appearance by Drake on that tour, it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, most definitely.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I just think for the culture, so to speak, it would be good to see those guys. I would say more so Kendrick, only because as Cole fans, we've been wanting this Cole and Kendrick mixtape for the longest. Doesn't look like we're going to ever get that, but Kendrick and J. Cole's song in 2026 would be the closest that we will get to it.
Most definitely. Another thing about it, when you think about it, the songs technically have already been recorded if anything was already made.
Yes.
So there is no obligations for them to release the songs for reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but the songs possibly exist. So it's like, what do you do now?
We don't know if it will sound dated, and I mean it depends on how long. I mean,
It depends also what he said on the song.
You know, I heard somebody say that a Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole song would sound outdated in 2026. I don't know if I could say that because, I mean, we go back and listen to songs, rap songs from 1994. I still listen to All Eyes on Me from Tupac to this day. I still listen to Dr. Dre's The Chronic to this day, and I wasn't even born back then. If we can listen to songs from that era, who's to say we can't listen to a Cole and Kendrick song that just so happened to be recorded in the year, I don't know, 2023?
Yeah. Well, the lyrics can be timeless. It's just what's dated. Like, what were they speaking about at that time?
That,
Because it's before other things happened. So imagine they shouted out somebody who eventually said something like maybe took Drake's side in the beef, or maybe called out J. Cole for not for dropping out of the beef. It's like, you know, you got things like that that's when things can get kind of dated. But who knows the workarounds for that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But to continue with other artists we might see on it, Jid said he heard it, so it would be nice to see him on it. I mean, I feel like if you do any Dreamville artist, Jid gotta be up there.
Easily. Jid did say that the fall off is going to be good. He said this on the Joe Budden podcast. He said the fall off is going to be good. Wait and see. Daylight, a guy who is associated with Kendrick and Top Dog, right? He said that the fall off is some of the best rapping he's ever heard.
Yeah.
There's other people that heard the fall off and said it's going to be a good album. So if these people, industry insiders, rappers themselves, have already alluded to the album being good, elite rapping, I think us as fans looking from the outside in, we can't expect nothing else but greatness. And that is the last thing that I wanted to get into on the album. Do you think that The Fall Off will be J. Cole's greatest album of all time? Will it be better than Forest Hills Drive and Born Center?
The thing that will make it better than those albums, it wouldn't be the impact, it will be the replay value of each song. Because that's what we lack from albums nowadays. Think of any album that's released in the past half decade. How many albums have you caught yourself still playing year after year, A through Z, versus the albums that you have played and you only took like a single from that album or the hottest song from that album? You see where I'm going with this?
Good point.
So, but J. Cole's not one of those artists. He's one of those artists where, like, I think every album that he's released, even the mixtapes, I had more than one song up there at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it ages well, and if it has replay value, I'm absolutely positive that it can be his best. Will it though? We gotta see him this Friday. That's the only way. I can't just predict it.
I agree.
It's possible though.
I think, and I've said this before multiple times, I think that the fall off, given how J. Cole has been rapping for the last 2 or 3 years, I think lyrically, the fall off will be his greatest album. I think lyrically it will be better than Born Center. It will be better than Forest Hills Drive. I know Friday Night Lights is a mixtape, but there are people that consider that his best project.
Yeah.
I disagree, but it's not a crazy take. I think it'll be better than Friday Night Lights. I think that the fall off will arguably be the greatest rapping from a technical aspect, just a technical aspect. I think it'll be the greatest rapping that we've seen in this current decade so far.
I listen to those mixtapes. Dang. Even for his first few projects.
And those are classic beats. Bro, he went bizarre on the Victory beat from Biggie. He went bizarre on the Money, Power, Respect beat from the Locks. Like, what else do we need to make an assumption that this is going to be some of the best rap, even if it's not the best? I think this will be some of the best rapping, for sure, that we've heard in a long time from any rapper.
We guarantee that, yeah. I feel he's not going to disappoint this album. I will say that. But
the production, I think, is what's going to be the end-all, be-all. Because Forest Hills Drive has great production from start to finish. And I'm glad you mentioned that earlier about albums that you can listen to from A to Z. Albums that have been out for whether it's 5 years or 10 years. Like I can listen to Forest Hills Drive from A to Z right now. I can listen to Good Kid, Mad City from A to Z. Graduation, A to Z. You know what I'm saying? Ready to Die, All Lives on Me. Those are albums that I can listen to from A to Z. Will the fall off be in that conversation? We have yet to see.
Yet to see, but it's gonna be in a conversation. I mean, that's what I predict. So we will see. You know, and then we'll have our afterthoughts on it or whatever, and then we'll go from there.
Because if you say that the fall off is going to be the best rap album of the 2020s decade, at least so far, right? That means that it's going to have to beat out The Forever Story by Jid. Okay. It's going to have to beat out Alfredo 1 and 2 from Freddie Gibbs. It's going to have to beat out Let God Sort 'Em Out from Clips, which was a hell of an album. It's going to have to beat out GNX. It's going to have to beat out GNX. I think lyrically it definitely will, but production-wise, sonically, impact, of course, we have yet to see. And, I mean, there's other albums that we can throw in there, but, like, those are the 5. Mr. Morale, it has to beat out Mr. Morale to be in that conversation of greatest rap album of the decade. But overall, we are looking forward to the fall off. We grew up on J. Cole. We're North Carolina natives. He is both of our favorite rappers of all time. Nothing but greatness is what we expect from this album. I expect top tier lyricism. I expect for J. Cole to prove once and for all he is the greatest lyricist of this generation. Any rapper from his class, Kendrick, Drake, anybody you want to throw out there, I think he's going to prove once and for all he's the best lyricist out of all of them. And it won't be I don't think it'll be a debate.
Most definitely.